Hello, everyone. Welcome to my 2021 Major League Baseball prediction video. Can't believe it. Opening day is coming up on April 1st. We made it through a tumultuous time in baseball, given the fact that, number one, we had a 60-game season last year, which I honestly didn't think there was going to be any baseball last year, given the fact that, number two, we could be witnessing the last of baseball for a short while, hopefully not too long, unless the Major League Baseball Player Association and Major League Baseball themselves work out an agreement for a collective bargaining agreement, which I just don't keep any faith in that. I really don't. I'm sorry to be in a down mood about it, but look what happened last year. They literally had to beg for a deal to get 60 games in last year. So enjoy it while it lasts, because there's a slim probability that we could be witnessing our first Major League Baseball work stoppage since 1994. And if that happens, that would be a disaster, because most of us expect baseball to be on every day, including yours truly. And everybody knows by now that the sport that I invest two most sports I invest money into are the NFL and Major League Baseball. So that's going to be disappointing for me. I expect the game on every day. All of baseball itself. So let's hope that something will happen. But let's predict this season. Let's hope that we can get a full 162 in, given the fact that last year, remember, we had a pandemic which had to stop Major League Baseball. We're still in it, but we're in different circumstances than we were this time last year. So let's get into my Major League Baseball predictions for 2021. First up, New York Yankees. Let's start off with the American League. What is there to say about them? We know that the Yankees are going to be the Yankees. We'll just be honest here. We know what to expect out of the Yankees. We know that they have the best lineup in the American League. They have a very good lineup 1 through 9. They have a very good bench. Now, as far as the rotation is concerned, yes, we do have Garrett Cole. And yes, we do have the resemblance of the old Corey Kluber coming back. But let's just go into who the Yankees could have as a fifth starter. Could it be Devin Garcia? Could it be a possibility that Domingo Germán is the fifth starter? I mean, there are so many questions that have to be answered. I mean, we don't even know who will get that fifth starter role. Now, Luis Severino could come back. I would hope that he comes back and is healthy, and I understand he has a very rough elbow injury, and he could come back during the season. But right now, I don't even know who this third starter is right now. They have a third starter by the name, this is from RotoWire, Jameson Taillon. Now, he's looking pretty good in spring training. But if I were to give Taillon a spot in the rotation, I would put Montgomery over him more than Taillon right now. Taillon, that's his name. Yeah, I got it right. So, Garcia is likely not going to be the fifth starter. something were to happen with Herman and Talon, then you could see Garcia being there, but likely Garcia's going to be in AAA to start the season. So that's where we will end it from there. So now we are going to look at our winners of the American League Central. By the way, before I get to the White Sox, I'm going to give the Yankees a record of 103 wins. I'm going to be fair here. The Yankees are going to be a 100-win team. I'd be very surprised if they aren't, because the Yankees are just that good. Last time they won 100 games was when we had a full season in 2019. So I will go with the Yankees winning 103 games. Okay, next up, AL Central. I'm going to pick the Chicago White Sox. Now, this is the season that the White Sox are expected to win their division. Now, Jose Abreu is going to lead the American League in home runs. One of the leaders. Could be very tough to figure that out right now. But you got Adam Eaton, very good outfielder. You got Makanda, who actually was a big factor into why the White Sox were able to, I guess, get into that big expanded playoff last year with the 60 games. Then you have Tim Anderson. He can be reliable when it comes to playing the infield. You got Adam Eaton. He needs to increase his home runs this year. He at least needs to hit 25 home runs, to be fair. Then you got Makanda, like I wanted to bring up. The only issue is Luis Roberts, one of their outfielders. We don't know what's going on with his abdomen, but either way, the good thing about the White Sox, they have very good pitching, which is going to get them through a lot of the season. You have Lucas Giolito, you have Dallas Keuchel, you have Lance Lynn, you have Dylan Chase, and you have Carlos Rendon. So that's why a lot of people think the White Sox are going to have a very good season. They're definitely a 90-plus win team this year. There is no question that I could definitely see the White Sox winning the division. The only issue is the bullpen. Now, the bullpen is a little bit tricky. I wouldn't know their bullpen very well, other than Liam Hendricks and Ronaldo Lopez. But other than that, I'm not familiar with their bullpen. I just am not. But starting pitching is going to be very dangerous for Chicago. That's what their team is based on. And again, Jose Abreu. You're going to watch Jose Abreu hit a lot of home runs this year. So I could definitely see that happening. So White Sox, I'm going to give a win total of, I will give them a win total of 96. So 96 wins, that's very reasonable for them, as long as their starting pitching can eat innings and as long as they're scoring enough runs. The White Sox can easily deal with teams like Minnesota, for an example, or the Indians are really not going to be, the Indians, but the only team you have to worry about is the Twins. That's it. And lastly, I'm sorry to have to do this, but we don't like the Astros, but they are going to end up winning their division. So let's get into what the Astros did in the offseason. First of all, they lost George Springer to the Toronto Blue Jays. That's sad enough. But they are going to figure out how to fill the void because they still have Jose Altuve. They still have Carlos Correa. They still have Michael Brantley. But here's the problem that the Astros are going to have to deal with. You don't know if Bregman will be ready for opening day. He has a hamstring injury. You don't know what will happen to Yordan Alvarez. He has a knee injury. But either way, you still got good pitching in Houston. You still got good pitching. Now, given the fact that Justin Verlander, and I will bring this up, that Justin Verlander is still figuring out if he can come back this year. There's a good chance he's probably going to come back. However, I want to bring up the fact that after giving Lance McCullers a contract extension, how in the world does Lance McCullers gives up so many runs in a spring training game? I don't get that, but okay. In fact, the Astros have a starting rotation that they have named according to the Houston Chronicle, and I don't know how this is going to factor in, but I'm going to read this article from the Houston Chronicle that I just pulled up. So, can't really read the article. Lovely. I thought I could read the article, but I guess it's not working. So, we'll just have to make up what this Roto Champ rotation looks like. Likely it's going to be Greinke. Likely it's going to be McCullers. Likely it's going to be Odorizzi, Christian Javier, and then Jose Quilardi. Framber Valdez, still dealing with an injury, the finger injury, out indefinitely, so we don't really know what's going to happen there. So, given the fact that the Astros could be in a rebuild, given the fact that this could be one of the few final times we witness Houston in the postseason, because there's a chance that Oakland could be catching up in a few years, or maybe even Anaheim, I'm going to give the Astros a record of 89 wins. I'm sorry to give the Astros less wins than Chicago and the Yankees, but the Astros are going to have problems. You know, now that George Springer is a huge void. You don't have George Springer and you don't have Justin Verlander to start this. You know, Verlander's not around to start the season, then I don't see it. I really don't see it happening. Okay, wild cards. Wild card number 1. I am going to pick the Minnesota Twins. Now, why am I picking the Minnesota Twins? Well, let's go into why I'm going to do that. Number 1, this is going to be possibly the last season that Nelson Cruz plays in Major League Baseball. Yes, they still got a pretty good lineup, but you got to make the postseason for Nelson. You have to. So I gave the White Sox 96 wins. If you are Minnesota, you're likely going to end up a few games back of Chicago, given the fact that Chicago has better pitching than you do. And given the fact that I understand Mejida could be your opening starter, you still got Michael Pineda, you still got Happ and Shoemaker, so you got a pretty good rotation in Jose Barros, but Chicago just has better pitching. The White Sox are going to literally outpitch the Twins. There's a way I could see it happening when they play each other this season. So I'm going to give the Twins 91 wins. That would be my first wild card. And then I'm going to give the Blue Jays around 90 wins. So that's going to be my 2 wild cards. Now, why am I going to pick Toronto? Why do I think the Blue Jays are going to make the postseason? Well, George Springer, right? Yeah, George Springer. Could he be ready for opening day with an oblique injury? Good question. But you have Vlad Guerrero Jr. Okay? He's going to hit so many home runs this year, along with Springer, and maybe even along with Marcus Semien. I just see Toronto being a good team this year. They're going to be a very good 90-win team this year. I could see it definitely happening. And you got very, very good pitching that can get you the playoffs. You got Ryu as your ace. You got Roark. You got Matz. You got Stripling. The only problem is Robbie Ray and Nate Peterson are injured. But as a Blue Jay fan, you should feel very optimistic that you have a good chance to make the postseason. You're dealing with a very, very interesting American League where other teams are just weaker than you. I give credit to the Yankees in Chicago. I just see them being the two best teams in the American League this season. Considering that both the Yankees and the White Sox have literally one of the best rotations in baseball this year, going into the season. So, Twins 91 wins, Toronto 90. That's how I will go into that. Now let's move on to the National League. And let's start off with a team that a lot of people think are going to make the playoffs, and I certainly think they have a good chance to maybe even win their division. The winner of the National League East will go to the New York Mets, or as I'm going to call them, the Steve Cohen Mets. Steve Cohen has invested a lot into his team since he has become the owner of the New York Mets. The same person who, by the way, owns the Children's Hospital at Long Island Jewish in New Hyde Park, one of the most prominent hospitals in the country. You can rank them up with Cleveland Clinic and maybe other hospitals. But the point is, you have the Steve Cohen Mets in Flushing, New York, trying to go for it all this year. Well, they can get to there eventually, but this is the year that they win their division. And why do I say that? Because going into the season right now, other than Noah Syndergaard being injured, and other than Carlos Cookie Carrasco possibly not coming back until Memorial Day, the Mets are still in a very good position right now with their starting lineup. The only issue is it's the pitching. Now, you would have thought the Cookie Carrasco would have been in the rotation, but no, that's not going to happen. So you have Jacob deGrom, who can lead the National League in strikeouts again. You have Marcus Stroman. You have Tyson Walker, Joey Lacucci, and then David Peterson. So pitching doesn't really look appealing yet. But once you get Carlos Carrasco, and once you get Noah Syndergaard back, look out. This is going to be a very dangerous team. As long as they stay healthy. As long as they can stay healthy, they have a pretty good chance. And by the way, I will bring up that in spring training, Edwin Diaz is looking pretty good in the bullpen. Edwin Diaz is looking like he's trying to go back to his old Seattle days. Now, is he going to be the closer? I don't know. I mean, do you want to give him a closer role? Good luck, because we remember what happened 2 years ago. You still got Jeurys Familia. You still got Dylan Betances, but then here's the problem. One of your big relievers, Seth Lugo, he has an elbow injury. He's not going to come back till June. Now, same with Syndergaard. He has a injury. But I could see Robert Gsellman getting called up in the minors. I could see Gsellman trying to be a starting pitcher this season for a while, but that's all in the air. That is all in the air right now. As far as other teams, Braves, what do I really see in Atlanta? I mean, they could have a decent chance. I understand they got Acuna, they got Freeman, they got Ozuna, they got d'Arnaud. But the pitching is the problem. I'm not impressed with their pitching. I don't see anything that gives the Braves an advantage other than Charlie Morton and Max Fried. And maybe Drew Smyly. But other than that, Mike Soroka is maybe going to come back in April or May, but I don't know. I really don't have an answer for the Braves. Okay, Met win total. I'm going to go with 91 wins. I could definitely see the Mets winning 91 because there's a big brother in LA that's going to be the best in the whole National League. So let's just move on to the Central. And I'm going to go with the St. Louis Cardinals, who's actually had a pretty good offseason, if you ask me. So, if I were to give the Cardinals a good number right now, I would at least give them maybe 89, 90 wins. I don't know. I'm just going to give a fair factor. Now, Yadier Molina could be retiring this season, which would be very sad to see one of the best catchers of all time retire. But you have Paul Goldschmidt, you have Nolan Arenado, and lineup's okay. Could be better. Maybe they might make a trade before the deadline. Good news is you still have Adam Wainwright. You have Jack Flaherty. Milwaukee, I don't know. I mean, he's not. We don't know when he'll come out, Miles Milwaukee. So, they have a pretty decent lineup. Now, I'm just going to look at the Brewers for a second. I mean, I don't know about Milwaukee. Could they be a wild card? That's pretty tricky. I maybe could see them being a wild card. I don't know. I'll have to make that decision when I feel comfortable doing that. But for the heck of it, I'm going to give the Cardinals National League Central, and I think they will end up winning the division with 89 to 90 wins. I know it's going to be tough with the National League, but we'll see as that goes along. And the team that I think is definitely going to win 100 games this season will be the Los Angeles Dodgers. Ooh. No surprise there. Los Angeles will win their division with 100 wins. They will be one of the best teams in baseball because you have a good lineup. You got Mookie Betts, Corey Seager, Justin Turner, Max Muncy, Will Smith, Corey Bellinger, AJ Pollock. I don't really know who Gavin Lux is, but point is they have a dangerous lineup. We know that. They're the defending champions. You have Clayton Kershaw, Trevor Bauer, Walker Buehler, Julio Urias, and then David Price. So you have a pretty dangerous pitching rotation with the Dodgers this season. So, still got Kenley Jansen. Still got a pretty good bullpen. So, I'm going to give the Dodgers 100 wins. Now, to the San Diego Padres, who are going to get double-crossed in this division. Padres are definitely a 90-plus win team. I'm going to give them 95 to be safe, so that way they can secure the first wild card. By the way, wild card 1 in the American League is Minnesota. Wild card 2 is Toronto. So just want to clear that up. So, Wild card one National League will be San Diego Padres. Now, given the fact that Fernando Tatis Jr. got one of the biggest contracts in Major League Baseball history, Trent Grisham could possibly be ready for opening day, but still, this lineup is very dangerous. You have, after that, Machado, Hosmer, Pham, Myers. I mean, this is going to be a team to definitely keep your eye on. And not to mention, this pitching they got. They got Yu Darvish, they got Blake Snell, and they got Joe Musgrove, Chris Paddock. I mean, this is going to be a team that you want to keep your eye on this season. And I knew last season, I said to myself, don't sleep on the Padres. Don't yet, because they were disappointed with what their expectations were in 2019. They had very good expectations to be a playoff team, at least get a wild card spot. So now they have a good expectation, and I will mention the bullpen. Be careful with the bullpen, because they just changed their closer, Emilio Pagan. So that could be something to keep an eye on right there. Then Lamet. Could he come back? There's a good chance that, I don't know. I could see Dilson Lamet being the setup guy, because there were games last season where Lamet was supposed to be the close, was supposed to get saves, but he didn't. I remember one game in Colorado last season. He was on the road at Coors Field, and Colorado tried to win, but then I forget who pitched in that game in the bullpen. But the point is, bullpen can be controversial in San Diego, but I'm going to give the Padres 95-96 wins. Now, my second wild card is going to be very interesting, and this is how I think it will end up. I'm going to go with the Philadelphia Phillies with a record of 89 wins, 88-89, to make the playoffs. This is why I think they have a pretty good chance to sneak in. You have a good lineup in Philadelphia with Andrew McCutchen, JT Realmuto, Bryce Harper, Rhys Hoskins, Didi Gregorius, Gene Segura. So you have a pretty good lineup over there. And then starting rotation. You got Aaron Nola, Zach Wheeler, Matt Moore, Chase Anderson, and then Vincent Velasquez. So I don't know. They probably will go with this rotation. A lot of people are going to judge their bullpen, because I understand Hector Neris is their closer right now. But we'll see what happens with the bullpen. I could see the bullpen doing something in Philadelphia, but I'm telling you this right now. There are going to be a lot of disappointed Philly fans this season if they do not make the playoffs. The Phillies just have an expectation to do so. So with that, I wrap up this video. Almost a half hour of me giving my thoughts on this upcoming season. So again, let's hope we get a full 162 games in. Please, I like to see that. And I'll just mention for the record, keep an eye on the Orioles for one factor only. And I know I'm going to get a lot of heat for saying keep an eye on the Orioles, because I'm going to have to go with the sleeper team in each league. So this season, I'll go with the Orioles in the American League, because I just think that they have something to keep an eye on. And what is that to keep an eye on, you may be wondering? Matt Harvey. Yeah, Matt Harvey. Keep an eye on him. because he is trying to do something down there. I don't know what he will do. You got Bruce Zimmerman and Felix Hernandez. So, don't sleep on them. Maybe they might surprise us. There's always a possibility. And in the National League, I'm going to go with the Brewers. I don't know. I just think sleeping on the Brewers would not be fair to them. So I'll give Milwaukee the benefit of the doubt. I'm not going to show their logos on the screen, but for me to go into both would just take too much time to go into. Okay. Thank you all for watching. Once again, opening day will be on Thursday, April 1st. So until the next one, please take care.